Right about 10:32 here in New York. 5:30 is the news conference on the schedule. It's been bumped about an hour later to 6:30 tonight, and it will be significant based on the questions and the answers and how the president does. What we did over the last 3.5 years, we want to figure out where he went without a formal news conference or a television interview, okay? Just keep that in mind as we show you the context for these stories. He had Hurricane Ida came ashore in Louisiana back in September of 2021, which is the month after the plane, that C-17, rolled down the runway in Kabul, Afghanistan. May of the next year, you got the Roe v. Wade decision that was leaked, and you also had the Uvalde school shooting. It was a massive story. Again, no formal news conference or TV interview on those topics. And then you had the Mar-a-Lago raid. Later in December, you had Brittany Griner released from Moscow. You know how important that was to the White House, pushing for her release. January, then, you got Garland appointing the special counsel, Robert Hur. Silicon Valley bank fails really rocked the markets. Again, no formal news conference or TV interview on that topic. Then you got Colorado trying to kick Trump off the ballot there in the American West, and Claudine Gay resigned as the president of Harvard. All those went without a formal news conference or a TV interview, but that's going to change tonight at 6:30, and we will have coverage for you then. Dana's got some ideas now. You were in that room.
Well, President Biden's political fate could rest on that solo news conference he's planning on holding tonight. Let's bring in Karl Rove. I mean, could the White House raise the bar any higher on a press conference like this that they announced several days in advance?
It'd be hard, but they've succeeded in raising this to astronomical heights. And why, I don't know. You know, they need to just sort of do these things without sort of raising expectations. This morning, devastating news in the Washington Post ABC poll. Now, I got the poor man's whiteboard here to show you, but this is what they're walking into tonight at the news conference. Should Biden step aside? 67% of adults, 56% of Democrats, 73% of independents. Should he continue as a candidate? 30% of adults, 42% of Democrats, 24% of independents. So the atmosphere out there is not good at all.
Okay, so call for number 3, guys. Here we go. This is what you're writing today, what Biden's exit could do for Democrats. And one of the lines in your piece, they want a new candidate to battle Trump in November. It is not too late. So go ahead and explain how that could play out.
Well, first of all, it would require him to stay, I'm not going to be a candidate. And then when the Democratic Convention opens on the 19th of August, the delegates would be free to nominate somebody other than him. But it would require him to step aside. Now, between now and August 19th, we'd have people out there trying to get endorsements, trying to show their message, you know, so forth. I don't think it would necessarily be ugly. Sure, every one of them would have Oppo packets on each of the other candidates, selling it to online influencers and journalists. But I think they would understand that if they became, you know, overtly negative about others in the contest, it would work to their disadvantage. Democrat delegates are not going to like that. So publicly, they would put their case. Here's why I'm the best person to lead the Democratic Party. We'd go into the convention. We'd all be watching it. We've never seen anything like this since at least 1976 and the Republican convention in Kansas City. So we'd all be paying attention to it. They'd all have, the major candidates would have a chance to speak. We'd all be making judgments. And remember, the delegates to this are normal Democrats. Of the nearly 4,000 delegates, only 43 are not slated by the Biden campaign. That is to say, nearly all of the delegates were chosen by the Biden campaign. So it's not going to be 45% Bernie Bros or Democratic Socialists of America squad members. It's going to be normal Democrats who want to win. If nobody has a majority on the first ballot, on the second ballot, the 739 super delegates, the sort of House of Lords of the Democratic Party, you know, Donna Brazile is a super delegate. They get to vote on the second and subsequent ballots. That is, you know, long established Democrat polls who desperately want to win. So my sense is they could end up with a normal candidate. And what happens then? We got a hint of it in December and January when we started to see polls matching Nikki Haley against Joe Biden. Donald Trump and Joe Biden were head to head, but Nikki Haley was winning in December by 6 or 8 points, and by January was getting up into double-digit leads over Biden. Why? Because people wanted somebody new, and the American people do want somebody new. Think about this. This is also from the ABC Washington Post poll. Both too old, 58%. Biden only is too old, 28%. Trump too old, only Trump is too old, 2%, and neither is too old, 11%. So you have essentially 13% of the electorate that says either it's a Donald Trump only or nobody. Both of them are available. Both of them are eligible to run. But most people want somebody else, and we'd likely see that happen, particularly if they got a normal Democrat like Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, or Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona,
Karl,
or a number of others.
We don't have much time. I do want to ask you, though, what is the leverage? What's the hinge point that could actually convince Biden and his family to say now's the time to hang it up?
They got to have reality hit them in the face, and the only way to get that done, in my opinion, is for Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries to say to him, Mr. President, with all due respect, it's time for you to go. Our caucuses in the Senate and the House and Democrats widely across the country do not think they can win with you.
No presidential candidate whose party is as severely divided, dispirited, and unenthusiastic as Democrats are today has ever won. That's what you wrote. Your words. Thank you, Karl.
Thank you, Karl.
See you in Milwaukee. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.